Ready? Un moment.
Yes.
Don't interrupt me until I call you again, please.
All right.
I spent the bigger part of my life, here in America now. I was lucky enough that I got an offer to go to Hollywood. I made a very early career in Vienna in the theater. I was first an assistant to Max Reiner, the director on this theater, and finally I managed this theater when he withdrew, a very beautiful theater in Vienna called the Theater in the Josefstadt. And a man from Hollywood came to Vienna and he heard about me. His name was Joseph Schenk, and he made me an offer. And I came here 3 years before Hitler, which also helped me later in 1938 to bring my parents, and my brother and his wife and children here. And I was very lucky because I could have been killed in Vienna if I had stayed longer, just like many other of my friends.
You had, I think, already made a film in Austria. Had you before?
I made one small film called Die große Liebe, which I like to forget. Great Love.
Well, we will let you forget it in this case. And when you came, but you came to America on an offer from...
Yeah, and I first observed. I watched filmmaking, and then I made 2 smaller films. And Zanuck liked them very much, and then he gave me the assignment of a film called Kidnapped, based on a book by Stevenson. And I didn't want to do it because I really, you see, for a European at that stage, it was to understand even the dialect. It's a Scottish Highland story.
Yes.
And I didn't want to do it, but I was warned that Zanuck would be very mad if I don't. To make it short, we had a tremendous fight. And I left. If you read my biography, you can find. Did you get my biography?
Yes, I know.
I have a little biography written by a critic from Canada, Gerald Pratley.
Yes.
You know him?
No, I don't know him.
He's charming.
What were the first films that you made in America which are important for you?
That is,
the 2 first ones.
You are now in a field where I cannot be helpful. I can't talk about my own films. I can't say what is important. See, it doesn't work with me like this. You see, there might have been one scene with one director, with one actor that I directed, that made me change my approach, not only to this film. And this is just an example. I don't know it. But I never thought, you see, I never have a diary, and I never, you see, I don't, I just don't like, you see, I would find it terribly pompous and thing to talk or to write my own history, in films, what was important to me and what was an important film. I leave this to other people. You see, like people ask me, do you have a style? I don't know. I mean, I knew a director, I don't want to mention his name, who also came from Europe, who used to, when he was also at Fox, and I was on a set once that he used to have holes dug into the floor so that he could shoot up on everybody. And I told him once, I said, you're making it would be much easier to put the actors on a platform, then you wouldn't need a hole. But you see, he tried to create a style, what people call style, by special angles. You see, I believe, because everything that I do comes somehow out of my personality, that if people should ever take the trouble, long after I'm dead, to really look at my films together, that they will discover that there is a style. And I don't consider style something, external. I think the style is really in the way a story is treated, in the way actors are being guided in the way the general camera angle. See, I would be, I think a picture is much better directed if you don't notice the director than if you see every moment shooting up, shooting down, cuttings quickly. I don't think that means anything. It's too easy. But I don't want to even speculate about my style or about which pictures were important or less important. I live, and this is part of my life, is making films or directing plays, and I enjoy it. I enjoy my life. It makes me very happy that I found an occupation that is different, that I did not become a bank clerk or somebody who goes to an office every day of his life at 9:30 and then goes home at 5:30 and on weekends plays golf. And the fact that it is different, that there's every day something, and you see when you make a film, there's really a challenge practically every minute, The work on films excites me and excites me today just as much as when I started.
Since you enjoy the process of work, one has the feeling that the process of work itself changes, that working on Laura, the kinds of things and problems that have to be solved while you're working, very different from a film like
the only difference was that the further on, I got, the more freedom. When I worked, at Laura, for instance, when Laura was finished, Darren Zanuck, who was the head of the studio, didn't like part of it and made me reshoot it. And only by an accident, because a newspaperman, Walter Winchell, was at this showing and said he didn't understand that part that he was reshot. He had no idea about what was going on. Zanuck said to me, well, do you want your old ending back? Otherwise, the picture would have been ruined. In other words, there was a power. The power of the studio head, of the boss, was unlimited. But Zanuck said at Fox, at Louis B. Mayer at Metro, or Jack Warner at Warner Brothers, or Harry Cohn at Columbia was the law. Then when the independence started, and I was one of the first ones, I can now choose the story. I can handle it the way I want to. I cast my films and nobody tells me how to do it. And so that naturally the method of work, is different. Because I don't have to worry every moment that the boss will see the rushes and change it. Although after the first success, Zanuck gave me also a lot of freedom, and except that he made me do things. For instance, I didn't want to do Forever Amber, and he, appealed to me, said, you're part of a team, and we pay you whether you work or not, etc. And he made me do it. He pressured me into doing it, and that has changed. But I mean, what I enjoy, is the whole character of work in film, so in the theater, which is in a way ad-libbing, at least the way I do it. This extemporaneous, and meeting challenges, every moment. I mean, I like it just as much if there are difficulties as I like it when everything goes very smoothly. I mean, the whole thing just appeals to me. It's part of my life.
You say that your work involves a good deal of ad-libbing, a certain spontaneity.
Not ad-libbing. What I mean by that is, no. I approve the script, and the script.
That's what I was wondering. I think you work on scripts
not ad-libbing
well.
this way.
Yeah.
When I said ad-libbing, is that I don't prepare the shots. Some directors either prepare themselves exactly the way they're going to shoot, or they have the art director make sketches for every angle. I don't do this. I rehearse with the actors because I come from the theater, and the rehearsals are very important for me. And while I rehearse, also while I work with the writer on the script, certain images form in my mind, and I execute them on the set. I do not that is what I meant by ad-libbing. I don't prepare myself very meticulously and to each detail. Like other, for instance, I know that George Cukor, has an art director design every angle. He doesn't always stay with it. Or there are many directors like this. I can't do this. I must have complete freedom, to see it, and then naturally I have an idea what I want to do. but it is not that methodical, you know. I mean, I'm not a methodical worker as everything worked out.
I see. Then, for example, the length of a sequence, the length of a cut, the preparation of camera angles of long, medium, and close-ups is something which evolves as the work
that
goes.
evolves while I'm rehearsing and shoot. That is not prepared.
I see. And this has always been so?
Always.
I see. Would you divide, in a sense, your filmmaking in America fairly neatly into the periods before your own independent status as a producer?
Well, I mean, certainly, I mean, the independent films represent me, successful or not, more than the other films, because I selected, you see, this is also, when you discussed before about the possible, you know, that controversial quality of the Rosenberg film. That comes from the fact that I live, you know, and I'm making films about the things that interest me, and I'm interested in contemporary problems. Yes. So very often this goes into my films, you see, and many of the films, like Advice and Consent, when I read the book, I was very interested, and I also do not believe, I want to make this clear, that a filmmaker has any duty to be what is called faithful to the book. I make often changes because the film is my film, and the author who sells the rights to his book, as the word sells means, you know, and indicates, gives them up. You know, he does not keep the right to that it should be the way he saw it, and that everything is filtered through my mind and my whatever talent I have and my feelings, my emotions, and I emphasize the things that seem important to me and not to the book author. And I think I have completed the right to it. If the film is a success, you know, it is my success. If it's a failure, I cannot blame the author.
Apart from the fact that you have more freedom in choice of subjects and casting and so on now than when you were working for Zanuck, etc. Do you feel that the actual working process has changed?
No.
That the decisions about shooting have changed, lighting, your way of handling things?
Look, I told you, I don't watch myself, you know. You always come back, you know, to trap me into talking.
No, I'm not.
I don't know, you know. I mean, if I change,
I accept what you have to say.
I think that every living being changes every day. You know, we change as we talk, we change as we meet other people, we change, you see, as we think, as we. This is life. Life is changed. So I probably changed, but I'm not observing myself. I don't know. I don't even like to call myself an artist. I don't worry about it. I don't worry about anything about myself. I don't like to call myself, but it sounds so pretentious. Let other people decide whether I'm an artist or a craftsman or a shoemaker. So it's not I'm not a critic.